Many homes I've lived in have had sunflowers growing naturally. There's actually only one place where I grew them from seed, and that was right before I went to live in Tanzania in the year 2020. I felt like I needed a hobby as every place was on lockdown, and that was actually the beginning of me developing my green thumb. I started them like this, and then once I left, my downstairs neighbors actually sent me a picture when they got to full bloom. Greetings, beautiful people. Hopefully you can hear me because I live next to a highway and it's very, very loud. Um, it is almost 6 o'clock here in Houston. And for whatever reason, it is nice and breezy outside right now. So I thought I'd come out here because I'm about to start gardening in an actual patch of grass. So it's big for me. I've wanted to do it for a long time, but just never had um, an apartment that I felt comfortable in growing things. And also, I just didn't feel like I had a good green thumb. So I am growing sunflowers. This is the mammoth that grows about 7 inches tall, and the cutting gold grows about 7 inches, 7 feet tall, and the cutting gold 5 feet tall, give or take. So I have a lot on my mind with COVID-19. Thank y'all for being patient with me as you watch this because I do have a lot to say, and I am very emotional right now. And I think when people hear the word emotional, they say, "Oh my God, let's help her." You know, being emotional is not a bad thing. Being filled with emotions. I'm filled with joy right now. I'm filled with abundance right now. I'm filled with peace right now. I am filled with happiness, you know? I think a lot of times we talk about like joy being better than happiness, but happiness is the short-term present moment. All we have is today. I'm looking at a patch of soil right now. One of my mentors tells me not to call it dirt, but I'm looking at a patch of soil right now. It has absolutely no flowers, but come June and July, it's gonna have flowers, right? And there's a season and a time for everything. Um, so I think we need to continue to drink our water, right? And continue to walk slow, because I don't know what's gonna happen tonight or tomorrow or some other space and time, but I know that I will win. There's this song, I think it's by the Impressionist, and it's called People Get Ready. And, you know, and in the song, they're just saying, you know, get ready, the train's coming. You don't need no baggage, you just got to get on board. You just got to get on board. So, whatever that looks like for you today and tomorrow and the next space and time, you know, just stay in the process. We're almost home. I first had to start by putting all those rocks in their place. Also, there's this gate here because my neighbors have a dog, and I didn't want the dog to mess with the flowers. But look at that. I mean, that the tallest one is at least 5 feet tall right now. So these ones in the back didn't do so good because there's not as much sun that hits them, but they're there. They're there, soon to flourish, soon to get flowered. Good morning. I'm sitting in front of the sunflowers that I planted and really sad that I won't see them flower. But just because you build something, just because you grow something, doesn't mean that you're entitled to see it to fruition. You know, just because you birth something doesn't mean that you also get to reap the joys from that sometimes. And I think that's what I would say to every Black person living in America. Just because we built this country doesn't mean that we always get to see the joys and fruits of our labor. It would be nice, right? It would be amazing to see the fruits of your labor, but doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you're entitled to seeing them. So I want to show you some of the fruits of my labor, and even if they haven't flowered yet, I know that they're here. In this house I'm living in now, there are the most indigenous sunflowers I've ever been around. Sunflowers represent adoration, longevity, loyalty, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Much like the sun, the radiant petals represent joy, vitality, and spiritual awakening. They encourage you to seek out positive energy and maintain optimism. A storm sent this one down, but it looks like it still wants to grow, so I'll just leave it and let it do its thing. As you see my backyard, I love to leave it wild so that all of nature can come and enjoy. I really enjoy sitting outside and watching the bees come to this bee balm here. At some point I will have to mow, but not today. Also, when I muster up the strength to mow, sometimes, many times, a storm starts brewing. So I guess that's nature's way of telling me not to. I wanted to make a video today about how to care for and work with sunflowers. I've always said sunflowers are my favorite flower because they look like people and they always cheer me up. Because they follow the sun throughout the day, this can represent an unwavering love and steadfast devotion. Some Asian cultures believe they also symbolize a long, happy life and good fortune. Their extensive root system makes them tolerant to droughts, which could symbolize they either have a huge internal capacity to hold water, or they don't need much water at all because they get their energy from the sun. Sunflowers also grow very fast, almost a foot a day for some species. I mean, I've had these growing for about a month now, and it's almost like I blinked and they were almost taller than me. Sunflowers also clean up toxic radiation, and this is most widely recognized in Chernobyl, when their nuclear power plant exploded and sent radioactive fallout across Europe. That part of the world is still healing from it, but every year since they planted the sunflowers, scientists go back to test the ground, and they find that there is less and less toxicity. This tells me that sunflowers help to put things back in their natural righteous order. They are seen as a golden light incarnated here to show us the way. I have been caring for sunflowers extensively throughout my life. And how you start to use them is always first asking them audibly if it's all right to use them. State your intentions and what you are wanting to accomplish and see if they allow you to cut them. Sunflowers represent truth and enlightenment as well, so you have to come correct with them. So once you've gotten the okay, you can do various things. First, with sunflowers, you can ask questions that you may have. As I said, sunflowers are always seeking the light. So by harnessing the power of the sun, ask them to give you an answer to a question you may have, and watch how quickly you get an answer. But again, you must come correct because this can backfire on you and can actually expose secrets that you haven't made right within yourself yet. Sunflowers can also be used as floor wash or in bath water to invoke happiness, confidence, and self-love. Remember what I said about sunflowers cleaning up toxicity. So I do believe that sunflowers can help with removing what doesn't belong in your life. And at the same time, it produces energetic shifts towards the good stuff. This is a huge reason why I love working with sunflowers, because not many plant medicines can remove toxins and restore at the same time, since those are two different modalities. Sunflowers can also be used for things you want to grow and nurture in your life. Because sunflowers are constantly harnessing the energy of the sun to grow big and tall very fast, you can also utilize this for your benefit as well. Because maybe for you it's not needing more confidence, but something else you want to thrive or succeed. Maybe a new project or a new work of art. Use the sunflower's quick growth rate to your advantage. But again, just remember, if you're not coming correct or wanting to quicken something that would be detrimental to others or to humanity, this action can actually backfire on you. And then you would be unleashing something dangerous for yourself. I have some apprehensions talking about plant medicine because I feel that people would sometimes just use them to their benefit. So I would say the best way to use sunflowers is to not use them at all. To just take it in, all of their beauty, all of their amazing qualities, and be thankful that you even get to see them just once in your life.